Joe Rogan called Trump's actions horrific. Does he have buyer's remorse?
You got to get scared that people who are not criminals are getting like lassoed up and deported and sent to like El Salvador prisons. This is kind of crazy that could be possible. That's horrific, and that's bad for the cause. Like, the cause is, let's get the gang members out. Everybody agrees, but let's not innocent gay hairdressers get lumped up with the gangs, and then like how long before that guy can get out? Can we figure out how to get him out? Is there any plan in place to alert the authorities that they've made a horrible mistake?
An American citizen got deported. They thought he was an illegal immigrant, and now he's in prison in another country. And any Republican who's trying to justify and saying this is okay, it's not. We got to do better. We're past the point of saying, hey, Kamala, you know, could have did worse. Like, we get it. Like, 7 out of 7 swing states agrees with MAGA. Like, and you're talking to a huge Donald Trump supporter, a huge Republican. But unfortunately, this nightmare that this guy's living in, if it's happened to him, it's probably happened on a widespread scale. Unfortunately, we don't know about those guys. We only know about this guy. So yeah, we could fix this guy, but what about the future people? It's very, very sad. It's heartbreaking. We got to do better, you know? Like, we're past the whole Democrats, blaming the Democrats. Like, let's be critical of our own party. This can never, ever, ever happen again. And we got to solve this now.
Yeah, I want to jump on the bandwagon of saying that I regret my vote for Trump. My whole family does. My husband and I own a farm in Ohio that was funded through the Inflation Reduction Act, which Biden signed into law. And now the executive orders from Trump are rolling back all of that funding for us, so now we can no longer afford our farm. And when all that happened, it was like a lightning bolt hit my brain, and I realized that I shouldn't just be voting for myself, that Trump's policies and EOs are hurting millions of people, but it took it affecting me personally to understand what I had done was wrong. And I think it's really important for anyone to come out who voted for him and is now negatively impacted by the executive orders, or maybe you have friends or family, especially in minority communities, who are being very heavily impacted by what's going on right now. So yeah, I think it's time for us to stop being so selfish maybe, and to vote for what's best for the country instead of just in our tiny little bubble, because we're all in the same boat now and we're all equally screwed by our new president.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
Do you care about Nebraska? Because I have a feeling you voted for this.
A symbolic but embarrassing blow to the president overnight. 4 Senate Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, joined Democrats, passing a resolution urging the president to undo his tariffs on Canadian imports. McConnell arguing the last thing we need is to pick fights with friends. And Trump's former VP also condemned the tariffs on social media. Mike Pence calling the president's plan the largest peacetime tax hike in U.S. history.
I never thought this day would come. Well, I'm going to regret what I did. I really regret voting for this guy. I'm working on this program for the Sound Power phones batteries. We're researching these batteries for these Sound Power phones. And they cut off our funding. It is really sad. You get to the office and they tell you, we're no longer going to fund your research for these batteries for these Sound Power phones. And, you know, what makes me sad is that these batteries were going to make such an impact on the lives of our deployed troops, especially the sailors out there. These are for vital communications on board the ships. So I truly regret now my vote. And I hope more people speak up just like I did.
It's finally happening. MAGA voters are hitting the online world with regret, confusion, and a whole lot of "we didn't think this would happen" energy. After everything, tariffs, economy crashing, court drama, some of them are waking up. And guess what? We're not here for a pity party. In this video, we're diving into viral online clips of MAGA voters backtracking on their love for Trump, and we've got thoughts. Welcome to FAFO season, episode You Did This to Yourself. But hey, we warned you, you didn't listen, and now it's giving full-blown FAFO energy. Let's roll these clips of women telling stories about some MAGA voters. But before that, I encourage you sound off in the comments. Like, subscribe, and keep coming back for unfiltered commentary on the political circus. It will also help YouTube recommend this video to a wider audience. Just a quick note, full credit goes to the original creators of these videos.
So my MAGA mom, who watches Fox News nonstop, had her find out moment on Valentine's Day. She doesn't get out much. She has a lot of health problems. But she got herself together and they were going to go out to dinner at their favorite Mexican restaurant in town. However, when they got there, apparently it's been shut down for good. Shut down. So I said to her, because I know they were all Hispanic, and I know they all came from Mexico because the owner was extremely wealthy and he would go back from time to time to Mexico. It was a restaurant we'd gone out to, I'm going to go 30 years. You know, love it. Excellent food. And I said, you think it had anything to do with the fact that they were Hispanic and from Mexico?
I was at the grocery store and I was talking to the lady in front of me in line. The cashier was ringing up her stuff and she was watching her total go up. She goes, "Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous." And I said, "I know, everything is so expensive." And she goes, "It's just ridiculous." And I was like, "Yep." And then she goes, she got real quiet. She goes, "I can't believe they lied." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, who lied? I love this. Who lied?" Did somebody at the grocery store lie? She goes, "Donald Trump and all the Republicans, they lied. They said everything was going to be less expensive, more affordable. Groceries would be cheaper, gas would be cheaper, living expenses for the average American would be cheaper." And I was like, she goes, "But they lied. It's not true." I was like, yeah. And I told her, I said, I would have told you before you ever voted that he was lying and that wouldn't ever come true. But you probably wouldn't have listened to me. And she goes, "You're right. I probably wouldn't have." I was like, "Well," and she just goes, I feel awful. I feel awful that I voted for him. I feel like I let myself down. I feel like I let my family down. I feel like I let my kids down." And I was like, hey, I get it. I really do. It's so easy to beat yourself up over choices that you've made, but you got to give yourself some grace. You know better, you do better, and that's all you could do, And she just goes, "Yeah, you're right." And then she goes, "I wish there was a lemon law for voting." And I go, "Oh, you know what? I wish there was too, because I guarantee you half the folks that voted for him would have returned that right to the voter dealership. Right on back to the voter dealership." She goes, "You're probably right." Anyway, I just am so frustrated. Because if they just would have done their research, if they would have listened to a voice outside, the little conservative bubble, maybe they would have been like, "Oh, maybe I should look into that." Not openly just "Oh, I'm going to disregard everything I believe and I'm going to go with that." But maybe plant a seed, to look into things for themselves. Use Google. Find some information, outside of whoever was talking to them, through the TV, through the phone, through the news, whatever. They just would have anyway, it's so frustrating. But they're realizing that they made a mistake, which is great. It's just a little too late. But I hope, right, that it's a good learning experience for them and that they take that into their midterm elections, right? And they vote according to what they've actually looked into and pick people who would actually benefit them and their families the most, right? Instead of just voting red or blue. And maybe even into the next presidential election. We don't just vote red or blue because that's what we've always done. We vote for somebody who would actually benefit the majority of Americans, right? So they're realizing it's just too late.
MAGA Republicans are crawling out of the woodwork online, saying, "We didn't know it would be like this. This isn't what we voted for." And my personal favorite, Trump changed. Let me get this straight. After years of racism, corruption, lies, and literal attempted coup, now you're surprised? This isn't the plot twist. It's the predictable consequence of riding the Trump train straight into the wall of reality.
My medication, it runs $20,000 a month without insurance. I make $800 a month. Oh, that will kill me. That would kill my friends. That would kill millions of people in this country if they lose their health care.
We're in California's District 22, a rural community in the state's Central Valley. This district voted for Trump for the first time in 2024, but now his policies threaten one of the benefits people here rely on the most.
It bothers me when people like Elon Musk say that people on those programs are the parasite class. It's just cruel.
Do you know anyone personally who voted for President Trump but depends on benefits like Medicaid?
Oh yeah, I know a lot of people.
Trump promised a lot of things. I thought it would be more family values and those programs that we really need here.
One of those promises was to protect Medicaid, which 67% of people in this district rely on. It's the largest percentage of any district in the entire country.
Can you guarantee that Medicare and Medicaid will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, we're not going to touch it.
But his administration just proposed an $880 billion cut to Medicaid over the next 10 years. So we wanted to come here to find out how people are feeling about Trump and his administration's decision that could have a huge impact on one of the benefits they rely on the most. One resident who would be impacted by Medicaid cuts is 64-year-old Irma Arredondo, who voted for Trump in 2024. Irma has several chronic health issues, including type 1 diabetes. She's also a full-time caregiver for her daughter, who has cerebral palsy, and her sister, who has Turner syndrome.
Valerie have her medication for her seizures. She needs care of everything. And I just give massage to her hands, to her legs. I stay with her until she falls asleep.
Sounds like you take really good care of her.
Oh, and my baby is my dog.
So you, your sister Irene, and your daughter Valerie, you're all on Medicaid. And how important is Medicaid for your family?
Can you imagine? We live on a daily basis with sicknesses. This is for the cholesterol too. This is also for my blood pressure.
So Medicaid pays for all of it?
Yes.
If you didn't have Medicaid, how much would this cost you? How much money?
Oh, thousands maybe.
Thousands. And that's just for you?
That's for me.
Not for your daughter? Not for your sister?
No. The medicine that my daughter takes for seizures, I won't be able to afford it. So we feel hopeless if those cuts come, you know. What we're going to do.
Irma was a farm worker for more than a decade. She believes that some of her and her children's health issues can be linked to the pesticides she was exposed to while working in the fields.
When I was pregnant with my child, I was working in the field. I remember it was this little airplane and sprayed us. But when my baby born, the doctor just said, "Uh-oh, something's missing." And when he gave me my baby doesn't have her arm.
So with these risks that you and your community face in agriculture, and then to have the system threaten to take away your health insurance, to take away protection, how does it make you feel?
Like I told you, I feel like this tubby nuts in the back, you know. But why when we put food on their tables, you know, that we risk our health? Look at me right now. Look at me, how many sicknesses that I have. The COPD, I didn't have COPD at that time. we got in the fields. Where else?
We're seeking permanent income tax cuts all across the board.
The $880 billion in Medicaid cuts proposed in President Trump's budget will help pay to permanently extend his 2017 tax cuts.
The largest tax breaks would go to the wealthiest individuals. Are those your values?
No, that's not right. ¿Por qué van a hacer tanto recorte? Sí, tanto recorte. ¿En dónde lo van a poner ese dinero? ¿Dónde?
In the last election, who did you vote for?
I feel embarrassed to tell you, but before all the years back, since I got my citizenship, I said I was a Democrat, but then in these last elections I voted as a Republican. Why? Because I'm against abortion. Para mí la palabra conservador es tener valores. I grew up with values, con las enseñanzas de mis padres.
Family values.
Family values.
Irma isn't the only one in District 22 who feels betrayed by the administration's plan to gut Medicaid.
The only people they're hurting are the poor people. People that really need the stuff. Elon Musk doesn't need it. Trump doesn't need it. And, billionaires don't need it.
They're making out big time with this, but they're hurting people in the process.
District 22's representative is David Valadeo, a Republican who voted in favor of the budget resolution to cut Medicaid, after initially voicing concerns about how potential cuts to social programs could affect his constituents. If just 2 Republicans vote no on the final legislation, they could stop Medicaid from being cut.
The folks in this district have voted for him because he, in the past, has been able to stand up against his party. But now he's really stuck between a rock and a hard place because it seems as if the Trump administration is going to really ask for loyalty from him and for him to play ball on every single issue, not just the issues that play well in this district. And so that might mean that they expect him to vote for things that are going to hurt his constituents directly.
If we could go back to November, who would you vote for now, seeing what you see?
Not either one.
You just wouldn't have voted.
Not either.
It's very sad that there's no political leadership that you feel you can vote for.
Maybe, they can, like you said, Democrats or Republican. Maybe they have, I'm not going to say that everything is bad, but the most important things. But the only good things is for them. To us, always going to be the good things,
You feel that way. It's always going to be the bad things.
Always.
For you.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are angry that, like Joe Rogan, people are saying a little too late. You endorsed Trump, you gave him a platform, and now you're upset with his actions, like a little too late. But in my opinion, on the great day of April 5th, as everyone's protesting around the country and Republicans and Democrats are out saying the same thing, I don't think it's a bad thing that Joe Rogan is coming out against him. Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have voted for him or given him a platform, depending on which side of the fence you fall on. But like, at least he's acknowledging that we shouldn't randomly deport, as he said, gay hairdressers to El Salvador prisons because they're not violent criminals. Joe Rogan's also saying that it's ridiculous, our relationship with Canada, and we've got to make that right again. And then side note, I just saw that the Daily Mail reported that Elon Musk is stepping down. So I think the protests are working. I was out there today. I feel proud to live in a place where we could still protest and speak to each other about this. But are you mad at Joe Rogan? Let me know.
So, what did we learn today, kids? That when you vote based on vibes and conspiracy theories instead of actual policy, it comes back to bite you. That's what we were trying to prevent in 2016. But you called it fake news. And now you're shocked the clown show turned into a nightmare. Look, we're not mad you regret it. We're mad it took this long. And while you're over there crying in your red hat, The rest of us are cleaning up the mess. Don't forget to like, drop your favorite regret clip in the comments, and subscribe for more real ones calling it exactly like it is. Because this is textbook FAFO. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one, hopefully with fewer regrets.